Hey guys, good morning. Good morning, you. It's not the New Year's yet. Um, nope, this is Friday. I got a cleaner shirt on just so I can show you guys that I'm working, living, doing okay. You know, and because I think all my dirty clothes are all messed up. So one of these days I'm gonna have to take and do some laundry. Hmm. And probably gonna have to shave. All right, so hey, you guys, you know that I look at myself in this mirror because I haven't looked in the rest of them yet. So whenever I turn this on, I have to do a little arrangement. I also left this board up behind me. Um, Not that there's anything better to look at, but that number four system, that four system is just about how is how our Bible is written, one world after another, and the whole thing is about changing our minds. And so this is about going from the left side of our brain over to the right side of the brain. And it just so happens that what that means in reality is that we go from right brain or left brain thinking, which is that at least when it comes down to spirituality, that we just can't do it on our own. That we have to have an arbiter. We have to be lovers of men, which is what that means. We have to go to a priest, and that we'll have to go to religion. That this is where we have to go. So that is a very Western way of thinking, because in reality, the science works is that we want to bring God directly to us. We don't need a middleman. We don't need the moon to come between us and God. We want to go right directly to God. And if I am not any more clearer on that, then you're going to have to learn to think a little bit more dynamically, because it's not just so cut and dry. You got to have some wisdom in there. You got to be able to say, oh, I can see where those things go together, right? And if you draw a blank, I think you're just thinking too fast. These things you need to sit back and meditate on. But today I wanted to talk about Jesus and his relationship with the poor. And in our Bibles, you can find just write about stories that talk about the poor. And what comes along with it is the words lame, and also those people that are in prison. Okay, so if you'd understand that God likes to open things up that are in prisons and let those people that are in prison free. Now, if you were to just take your mind, it's the critical thinking part of your mind, and say, now, would that be the best thing to be letting loose people out of jail? I mean, no matter how well, I don't know how to actually phrase this next part of it, but no matter where is your mind? Prison is a place for bad people, all right? That's what the outside world. This is a spiritual book. And what they're saying is that we are bad people for keeping our spirit in jail and in prison, in bondage, in swaddling clothing. Are you using your critical thinking here? Okay. All right. So I'm going to stop the condescending part of this. Well, I'll use it as I need it. But the idea is this is how you got to jumpstart your brain. When people are poor in our Bible, it doesn't mean that they don't have a penny in their pocket. All right. When they are poor in our Bible, they are pretty much not connected to God. And that's a lot of people on earth are in this poor place. And what does God give them? What does God give the poor people? Well, he talks about one day you being free, and that one day you'll come to him along with this freedom. And you'll be given riches. And so it takes you from being poor, being without God, to being with God. How is that? And all it is going from the Western way of thinking, where we need help, where we need someone else to be our God. And this is the stranger, this is the bitch. It's an outside approach, so it's the whore on the back of man. All right, we want to go to the other side. We want to get to the east. Right? That's where we want to go. The rising sun. The whole story is about the rising sun, the guy that can sit over there, become this lion. Let this lion be the one that rules over you. And that this lion actually represents you after you've made it all the way over to this other side. And that's the right side of the brain. And we're in the right minds. When you are in your right mind, and let me tell you, that is a pun, right? Some kind of pun, some kind of joke. It's the truth. When you're in your right mind, does all of these things work? You know, this is when the eyes are open to the blind. This is when we, you know, if you can't walk or move or you're stuck, you know, when you're stuck, they have the halts, you know, I call it the rickets. That means there's no movement in here. This is all, this part of you is dead. You know, it's gone. And lepers, meaning the skin ailments, the skins, this is healed. So you're able to, you learn to walk. You're made to see. You're made to walk. You're made clean. Those are the things that happen. And you know what happens? Do you know what happens to the poor? You can look this up. They preach the gospels to them. All right? That's their works. You've got to do this. When you're poor, you've got to do the works. And that means you got to follow the word. Boy, do I get into it with these people online. Now, right now, I've been battling over this guy, Jonathan, you know, this guy talking about the New Jerusalem and pumping up the idea of Zion and all of this. Well, you know, I've been having a great time. Most of the times, I get my first couple words out, and then I get slam dunked and then dismissed, and they throw me out, you know, or block me. I have run across a place that actually liked me and thumbed up all of my businesses. Loved it all. Had a great time. So I might be able to bring more people into the fold by being able to talk, being able to reflect what this guy's talking about. So he's some TV preacher, thinking they're the prophets and stuff like that. I said, that motherfucker's a false prophet. I know, because I'm a real one, all right? And real one can just see through it. That's the only thing that's trouble, you know? Oh, I really think a lot of myself. This one gal, she says, because I have written, I mean, it seems like I've written books whenever I go out fishing. And next thing you know, I get this one gal who's just really dense. But it's not her fault. But so, you know, I've been learning how to be a little nicer. But I told her, you know, after all the explaining, I mean, downright simpleness, even leaving little crumbs, you know, to follow by. She still looks at it as my word. I knew it, that if we don't follow what you say, then everyone's wrong. And I said, well, you know, I kind of like the idea that that she's kind of given it that Jesus approach, you know, that if you don't follow me, then you can't do this, all right? I'm teaching the same things that Jesus would have taught to those people that were worthy, all right? Those are the ones that he opened the eyes of the blind to. How many blind people there are in this world, huh? I mean, that's going to be something to think about. How many people are in bondage in this world? And you think that, my God, you guys, where are your minds? Where are your minds? Okay, so let's get back on track. I did call up some other things, but I don't want to talk about them. I think they're bad. Do I? Shit. All right, here we go. When thou makest the feast, call the poor, the maimed, the lame, and the blind. For the poor shall never cease of this land. Therefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt open thy hand wide unto thy brother, to thy poor, and to the needy in the land. This is opening up your brother. It's beautiful. The hand. He that has pity upon the poor lendeth unto the Lord, and that which he hath given will he pay him again. So he that has pity upon the poor lendeth unto the Lord. So when we hear these stories about, if you've done any of these things to them, you've done them to me. Well, on the outside, there's all these people, become groupies of people that are in jail and stuff like that, and people bring food over to the poor people and stuff like that. But the actual true reading of this is something like me. I am pitying the poor. I worry about them. I'm not pitying them. I want to be in this place where I care for them. So I am out teaching them the Spirit instead of the Word, because I care for them. And I'm helping the Lord. I'm helping God by doing this. Mark. Then Jesus, beholding him, loved him, and said to him, one thing that thou lackest, go thy way, sell whatever thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven. And come, take up the cross and follow me. This entire statement is having to do with somebody giving up everything that they own, which is yourself, or that 10%, your carnal mind, that part of you that you operate out of. Sell this. Sell this. Give that to the poor. Come follow me. Because this is the idea that I will bring you to riches. And then this is the other side, because this is about hooking up to God. And thou shalt have treasures in heaven. This is the best thing. Come take up the cross and follow me. Take up your cross and follow me. This is Libra, wanting to be this pace. Come on. Take up your cross. If you got to do this, you got to start with a virgin mind first. All right? Because to come into to take up the cross is to, hey, let's balance things out here. Let's fix this. Let's fix the both sides of your brain. Because one side of you is certainly too heavy, and the other side's not even there. A vacancy. Let's fill that vacancy. Luke 4:18. For the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to captives, and recovering the sight of the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised. Now, the way these work here, you say the same thing. These numbers are going to work for us no matter what. For the Lord is upon me. When the Lord is upon you, that means that God is with you, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. Now, here it goes. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, deliverance of the captives. This is how it works. And recovering the sight of the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised. All right. So, and he lifted up his eyes on his disciples and said, blessed be the poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. This is Luke 6:20-26. We are the poor when we're not connected to God. And the only thing that we have going for us is that because we're poor, because we're even playing the game, because we're even representing this religion, this idea of following the whore, putting her on our back and carrying her around all this time and blaspheming against God and creating the situation where we're trespassing with everything that we do, everything that we say. that it's all in vain because you're getting nowhere. The poor people are doing this, and to them comes the kingdom of heaven, to the poor, because they don't have it. And it doesn't happen when you're dead, as in a doornail. You have to learn how to kill yourself while you're still alive and live to it. And he lifted up his eyes. Oh, we already did that one. The blind received their sight, the lame walk, the lepers cleanse, and the deaf ear and the deaf hear. The dead are raised up, and the poor have the gospel preached to them. Now, I think this is 6. The blind receive their sight, which is our minds are open. It's supposed to be this one. The blind receive their sight. The lame learn to walk. We finally sow our seed correctly, so that wakes us up. The lame learn to walk. All right, this is the walk. We follow God. It's a type of walk. Types of trespasses walk. Everything's about our feet, our legs. Our legs represent the 4th kingdom, which represents the spiritual side of us. Remember that? Remember Nebuchadnezzar? He has the gold head. He has the silver torso and arms, right? This is the Kundalini and stuff like that. He has the brass waistline, which is what controls us, which is the lower of man. And down here at his legs are made out of iron and clay. The clay is mixed in there so that it won't mix correctly and that we can shatter them. That's the place where religion gets shattered. The fake bitch, the whore, once we learn to walk, she's gone. She's out of there because we don't need her anymore. That's not where we go to get our comfort from anymore. That's how you know when someone is saved. If they're pretending, if they're saying they're saved, they're only fooling themselves. If they're preaching the gospels, all right. That's how you know that this Jonathan guy isn't for real. But he's got himself and everyone. God knows how many people have helped him believe in himself, But it's just a bunch of shit coming out of his mouth. And, this idea of pushing the 3rd temple and stuff, when God doesn't even want to hang out with man and stuff like that. This is a pipe dream. It's the silliest little thing. All right, so it says, and the king shall answer and say unto them, verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto the least of any of these brethren, you have done it to me. Matthew 5:3, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So poor in spirit. This is getting a little closer to the definition that we don't have mother. Mother is spirit. All right. Oh, and they're tossing this stuff around like she's like she's nothing. And she is something. She's very important. Matthew 6:3-4, a little strange one in this group. It says, but when thou doest alms, let not the left hand know what the right hand doeth. Oh, that's interesting. Something to do with the poor must be later on in there. So anyhow, I just thought I would run you through a few of these things. That saying about not letting the left hand know what the right hand is doing. The left hand is the mind. We don't want it. When we go to meditate, that's a right-handed thing to do. And so that's how that story goes, is that we hide things. We don't let the left know what's going on. We want to blind decide what it is going on. And all of these stories is about you going into meditation, taking care of this problem, having an uneven mind. So take up your cross. Sell everything that you want that you can to the poor. Sell everything. Give all of you to this situation. There's reward for you in heaven. All right. And then you come right back down to earth and continue doing all these wonderful works. You don't want to follow the Bible anymore, but you can still go and take care of poor people. Take care of those people that are shut in and trapped inside. You know, hell, teach them the spirit side of the Bible instead of teaching them the word. That's what I've been doing. All right. I love you guys. I'll see you later.